Hello everyone. In this class today let us try to understand on the topic of monetary, in the subject of monetary economics, on the topic of the rate of interest and inflation, how rate of interest and inflation are correlated each other in the subject of monetary economics. So this is the one topic. This is for second BA, third semester students of Bangalore University. Myself, Dr. Sreenivasaiah, Department of Collegiate Education, Government of Karnataka. This session, which already I told, the relationship between inflation rate and rate of interest. Learning objective of this session is to understand relationship between inflation and rate of interest. Session outcome for the students, they will be able to understand the relationship between inflation and rate of interest end of this session. My presentation content plan is like this: introduction of the relationship between rate of interest and inflation. After that, what will be the relationship between the rate of interest and inflation, and references, and the rate of interest during the boom, during the recession, and rate of interest during the rate of inflation during the boom, during the recession, and references, MCQs, multiple choice questions. This is how my presentation plan for this session is. Here, inflation and rate of interest are often linked and frequently referred in macroeconomics. So here, rate of inflation is the tendency of increasing in prices at the same time decreasing in the value of commodities. Decreasing in the value of money, which means the increasing in the prices and decreasing in the value of currency, it is said to be the inflation. At the same time, the rate of interest is amount is charged by lender like banks, financial institutions, and so on to a borrower, which means rate of interest is the cost of capital. In other words, it is a reward for a capital where that is a owner of a capital is getting a kind of reward, that is said to be the rate of interest. Here, the rate of interest and inflation both are inversely related, which means to say that when inflation are at the high rate, normally there will be a less rate of interest. Normally, when there will be a low rate of inflation, so which means deflation, then there is a tendency of increasing in the rate of interest. This will be the relationship between interest rate and inflation in the economic system. What are the features of this? There is a general tendency for interest rates and rate of inflation. It is inversely relationship, which already I told, that is when there is a deflation tendency, which means there is a low rate of inflation, then there is a possibility of decreasing in the rate of interest. Here we need to keep in mind rate of interest increases, which will cause us in the economy to pour more money in the system, which means when there is a high rate of interest is taking place, normally this is towards to decreasing in the inflation rate in the economy. Normally both the tendencies are inversely related. It is the responsibility of the central bank implementing the country's monetary policy, which means it is one of the monetary policy. It is a monetary measure. Monetary measure means it is measures undertaken by the central bank to control our money circulation in the economy. When this measure is taken by the central bank to control our money circulation in the economy, obviously there is a possibility of bringing a stability in the system. When there is a too much inflation is there, what is going to do this Reserve Bank of the country? It is going to increase the rate of interest. When the rate of interest increases, obviously market rate will also increases. As a result, more money is flowing from publics to the bank. As a result, there will be a less money in the hands of individuals to spend. As a result, there is a less circulation of money in the system. When there is a less circulation of money in the system, obviously there is possibility of spending less. When they are spending less, obviously prices have been decreased. When prices have been decreased, automatically the inflation will be getting controlled. This is the way they are going to control the rate of inflation by using a tool of interest rate. So therefore, it is very important tool in the economy to control and to bring stabilization and to keep economy in a very healthy mode. So therefore, it is very important step taken by the central bank of any country to keep economy in a very healthy manner. In general, when the rate of interest are low, economy grows and inflation increases. So here we need to keep in mind, when the rate of interests are low, obviously there is a possibility there is a more money in the hands of individual. People are taking more borrowings. People are taking more loan. As a result, their spending power will increases. Economic activities will be increases. Economic activity, employment, poverty eradication, all these things will take place. As a result, so over the period of time, inflation increases. So therefore, this is the relationship which we can establish, which we can see with the help of, with understanding the rate of interest are very low in the economy. That is, conversely, when rate of interest are high, the economy slows and inflation decreases. Rate of interest are high. See, obviously it is, when the rate of interest are high, cost of capital become very expensive. When the cost of capital become expensive, when the investors are not coming forward to invest, when the investors are not coming forward to invest, obviously the investment activities will slow down. As the investment activities are going slow down, production will go slow down, employment will go down, and as a result, in an economic system, there is a less purchasing power in the hands of individual. The inflation decreases. This is the tendency, which is the relationship between rate of interest and inflation, which will take place in the system. Next, inflation and rate of interest. See, inflation is important, but only at the right amount of it. Here we need to keep in mind there are many arguments. J.M. Keynes, in one place, he said that, so that is how unemployment can be eradicated. When unemployment is going to be eradicated, so when people is going to infuse money to a system in the form of public spending, obviously there is a possibility of he is quoting one good proverb saying that when money is being spending by the government towards the public, obviously there is a possibility of increasing in inflation. At the same time, there is a possibility of more circulation of money. So to get out of these unemployment situation in the economy, that is what he, so he told that in a Kannada proverb, that is, ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ನಾವು ಆರ್ಥಿಕತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರುದ್ಯೋಗ ಎಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಭೂತವನ್ನು ಏನಾದರೂ ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸಲು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಿಸಿದ್ದೇ ಆದರೆ ಹಿಂಬಾಗಿಲಿನಿಂದ ಮನೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಹಣದುಬ್ಬರ ಎಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಭೂತ ಬಂದು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರುತ್ತದೆ ಎಂಬುದಾಗಿ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯವನ್ನ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿದ್ದರು, J.M. Keynes. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅದೊಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಮೂಲಕ ಅವರು ವಿವರಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ. So here central bank's job is to keep check on inflation. Central bank has to see to it when that inflation has to be controlled, and which circumstances, and what is the status of the country, and whether it's a deflation or inflation or recovery or recession. Keeping all these kind of things, central bank has to see to it this inflation is to be stable. One of the main tool that central bank used to keep inflation check is interest rate. See, central bank normally use an important tool in the name of interest rate to check the inflation in the economy. See, the central bank is going to use an important tools in the name of bank rate, repo rate, reverse repo rate. By using these tools, that is central bank is going to check the rate of interest. So that is for the long-term lending, it is going to use bank rate. For short-term lending, it is going to use the repo rate. So this is the way inflation and the rate of interest being monitored by the central bank to check the rate of interest. The government sets benchmark interest rate. Normally, government say that rate of interest, the rate of interest should not go behind these, because people's purchasing power, it is expected to amper. As a result, government is going to fix. So that is rate of interest. Normally, this is going to be, or that is going to be, under that circumstances, it is a kind of a challenge for a central bank according to how inflation in economy is behaving. So to see why this benchmark is being fixed, how in an economy, how inflation is behaving based on the situation, the rate of interest being fixed by a government. So that is the way we need to understand in such a manner. Further, during inflation, what is the behavior of interest rate? Here, recessions are primarily characterized by falling income, spending, and investment, which eventually leads to falling GDP. Here we need to understand GDP is decreasing, income spending is decreasing, investments are decreasing. This is the way where recession, all the economic activities are getting slowed down. Under that circumstances, what is going to happen? The prices will also fall. Under that circumstances, the central bank of the country will take a stake in the name of rate of interest. They are going to reduce the rate of interest. As a result, more money is going to pull from the banks towards public. As a result, what is going to happen? More spending power will take place. When more spending power is taking place among the people, so obviously all the economic activities starts increasing. See, due to this, inflation also falls. See, demand is also weak, which already I mentioned. When inflation falls, demands also become weak. In such a situation, central bank's jobs to keep economy back on track decides to lower the interest rate, which I have mentioned. So therefore, that causes inflations to go up at the desirable level. The desirable level where economy growing, what extent it has to grow, what extent GDP has to grow, gross domestic product has to grow. It has been decided by the government on fixing certain, so that is national, international level parameters. This is the way during recession, the inflation and rate of inflation are going to use as a tool to control an economic system. Further, during boom and prosperity, when an economy is boom and prosperity, then inflation is very high. Normally, in any economic system, when boom is taking place, obviously, economy is getting overheated. Obviously, when economy is getting overheated, so all prices are going very high. At the same time, the value of that particular currency is expected to go very low. So against the international currencies, our Indian currency purchasing power, it is expected to go down. As a result, we have to pay more forex reserve to the other countries. Under that circumstance, central bank is going to take a step in the name, that is, so rate of interest, it is expected to raise. So disincentive spending and investment, which means to say that they are going to sensitize the investment spending. Investment also going to be reduced. As a result, what is going to happen? All the economic activities will be controlled at the desired rate. Which helps in lowering the inflation. So when we are taking the above two steps, it is going to lower the rate of inflation in the near future, in term cooling down and otherwise overrated economy. So therefore, when economy is completely boom, when economy is completely full of money, so like how a human body is more money, more blood is there, obviously is going to be a more blood pressure on a head, that is going to become it is going to become very effect on the part of head. So therefore economic part of head is going to be get impact because of this more money circulation. Under that circumstances, the Reserve Bank will interfere to control money circulation. This is the way where so we need to understand the relationship between interest rate and the inflation, and it is inversely related to each other. They have their own impact. Interest rates are high, then inflation and money circulation in the market will be low. So if an interest rates are less, then money circulation will be high in a market, hence inflation will increase. So therefore, by understanding this, we can say that there is an inverse relationship between rate of interest and inflation in an economic system. Based on the situation and based on the economic health, any policy maker, they will take a step to increase inflation rate or to decrease inflation rate by using the rate of interest as an important tool. Further, these references you can go to it, then multiple choice questions also you can look into it. Inflation refers to an increasing in prices of dash, prices, goods and service. So that is goods and services. Answer is C. Interest rate refers to dash rate, that is lending rate. Next, third point, the interest rate is decided by dash through its policy, that is central bank through its monetary policy lending. Fourth, there is a dash relationship between inflation and rate of interest. So that is B answer, indirect relationship. Central bank dash interest rate during inflationary pressure, that is increases the rate of interest during the inflationary pressure. This is the way you all need to be keeping understand about the relationship between rate of interest and the bank interest rate and the inflation. So this is how you need to understand, all of you, and learn everybody, and subscribe the channel, listen to it completely, so that you can understand the relationship between, so that is an important monetary policy and so that is inflation rate. Okay, thank you very much all my dear friends.